My friends, I just recorded this entire video on mute, so we're going again. The life of a content creator. But in any case, I've heard that a lot of you want more content. Maybe you've cleared out the palaces and mementos in this first patch cycle and you're just waiting for the drop. And good news is, as of when I'm recording this, I think we're only 3, maybe 4 days away from the patch to hit us. And not only is it giving us the conclusion to Palace 2, but from what I've read, this is bringing with us the next mode, which is, a roguelike mode on a train. So I want to show it to you today. I want to give you some, a couple tips and pointers. Because it's roguelike, I can't give you a full guide that says do this, that, and the other, because it's meant to be varied each and every one of your runs. But there's a lot to get from this. There's a lot of rewards, and you might have a ton of fun doing this. And certainly it's going to last you a little while. So with that, a like and a sub on the way in would help tremendously, and let me show you what I'm talking about here. So this is the heart rail, or they'll probably translate to something else. I'm not sure how I came up with that name, probably heard on Discord. But it's this little yellow piece here, and it's this whole, I'm going to call it the train game. And it's all about going through various platforms to get to a boss. And it has a ton of rewards. And so not to tease you, I'm just going to show you the rewards right up front and the kinds of things you can get from this. Now, as a disclaimer, there's 2 things I do not know because they've not given any information that at least I've seen, in advance. One is if the quality of life improvements that came later will come at launch for us. What I mean by that is there's platforms, and it used to be you had to go into every platform, fight every enemy, talk to every NPC to keep progressing forward. Later on, they made it so that if you're a certain level above the enemy, I'm not sure the exact level, that similar to palaces, you auto-clear the platform and just move to the next one. And that the places where you would see, they kind of look like ghosts, is how I would say it. They're like wandering NPCs. They give you options for potential buffs or items, and you just have to get off the platform, talk to them, get back on the train. Now it just gives you the conversation tree and you just keep yourself moving forward. It really streamlines how long this takes to get through, which, believe me, is a good thing when you have 180 levels that you're trying to get through. So hopefully that comes. It'd be great if it does, but if it doesn't, that just means the run's going to take you longer. And the other thing I do not know is if we get all 180 level ups on day 1. They very well could come out and say, hey, it's up through level 50, and then more come out later, and then more and more and more. So I don't know if we're going to launch with all 180 potential level ups, but worst case, you're going to know what to expect in advance, so you can get excited about future rewards. So with that, let me first show you the big reward path, which is this batch level 180. So you can see I'm at max level here. Let me scroll back and I'll cut in and show you the rewards. Okay, so here we are. So every level up to a 10th level, so 10, 20, 30, whatever, you get a ton of materials. So you can see all the things I'm getting here, level up materials, breakthrough materials, etc. An absolutely stellar place to get a bunch of these materials, and you're probably feeling that crunch if you're leveling a lot of characters like I am. But then look at your big milestone ones. I'm going to show them to you all. So first of all, this is a standard banner pull. You go up, you get yourself a limited banner pull. Keep going up, you get 2 weapon tokens. We'll go again, you get 2 more standard banner pulls. These are the space cards, so your top card, if you think about the 4 in a set for your characters, then you have the top one. This is a random one of those, which is great. Actually, you get 2 of them there. We get some of the roses, which break you through from level 9 to 10 on your skills. Those are super helpful to have because they're more limited. This will break through certain level personas without having to have a duplicate of themselves. So that's nice to have. Boom, 4-star selector. So, and this is why I don't necessarily know if this is coming at the same time, like if they're giving us all the levels, because you got some characters in here we don't have in global yet, or if they just adjust this. I really don't know. So it might be that, we only get to level 70 or something at the start, and maybe level 80 and up goes later. We'll have to wait and see in a couple days. But know that you can look forward to, 4-star selectors. More roses. You've got an ability to select your space card. So if you're like, hey, I really wanted to get, wisdom, and it just has been evading you, cool, you can pick it up here. Another 4-star selector. So all of you that want Leo, like I did, like there's a place to get them. This item is to reverse your cards to kind of re-roll them. More roses. You got another 3 standard pulls. What else? The inks we can talk about some other time. More roses, another reverse your card, and then at the end you get to do 2 more picks on, you know, your space cards as they're calling it, or whatever it is on the top. I forget the name now. But yeah, so tons of great rewards for going through this whole path. And keep in mind, you're getting all these leveling up materials as you're going to enhance your characters. So absolutely tremendous to get through all 180 platforms whenever they release all 180. Or levels, not platforms. Then on top of that, check this out. So you can see at the bottom I'm missing a few, but 2,480 total gems that you can get in this. And it's by coming through here and collecting all of these different sets. These are the kind of randomness of it. These are the roguelike elements. So you don't know which ones you're always going to get as you're going through your platforms, but eventually you want to get each and every one of these cards because you're getting things for doing so. And then over here, you can see these are like the lost and found items. And it's just another mechanic of randomness. And like, look, I don't have this one, so I'll get 30 gems if I get that one, 30 gems if I get that one. And so there's just a ton of gems to get throughout this entire mode. And these coming soons, by the way, have been coming soon forever. I don't know if they abandoned this, but I have no clue if this is ever going to happen. This is all we have at the moment. So tons of gems, tons of rewards. And then if I look at our challenges, look, you've got more random, you know, those top cards like I was talking about, you know, a bunch of materials to level them, you know, some lower rarities, some badges if you're a badge hunter. There's so much to get within this mode, all these gems, like 60 for each of these challenges. And there's 3 pages, by the way. And so you're going to want to come through here over time and clear this out. This is a great mode when you're in between content cycles or patches and you're like, I did the palace, I did mementos, I can't push Velvet Trials any further. You know, what do? Come run a few platforms, you know, get through a little bit of this mode and kind of chip it away. And you get so much for doing so. So that's the rewards. If you don't want to see how it plays out, then you could leave right now and just be happy that a lot of rewards are coming. If you want to see what this mode actually is, stick around. I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to show you a little example. So the whole way that this thing works is basically you are going to go through platforms and you're going to collect cards and try to build sets. And as you build these sets, you get stronger. So, you know, you can see all these different things here, like this set. So if I go back, this is the regular card. And this would give me, let's pick one that makes more sense. After a Phantom Thief receives damage from a certain effect, their defense is increased for 1 turn. Cool. Now set items, if I have 2 of these cards, you deal 80% more damage, you know, for this red tide effect, which they're going to translate this to something else, I'm sure. And you have 40% chance to gain down immunity for a turn. And then a 4 set, Frenzied Power grants an additional effect, and each stack grants, you know, red tide and against a special effect. It increases the damage enemies take from red tide by 40%. So, you know, you have to go through the modes, and as you get a chance to collect cards, you have to decide, am I going for a 2-piece, a 4-piece, multiple sets? And you can only hold 12 cards to start, and you can spend railroad coins to make more options there. There's a lot to kind of take in there, but ultimately the whole thing centers around what sets do I want and which lost items do I want. And every time you beat a certain platform, it's going to give you, you know, kind of a random option. And so you have to make a decision based on what's in front of you and what you've already done to say, oh, let me continue building this set, or let me shift and get a different set, or maybe I sell the cards and then hopefully get a sales platform later where I can buy a set. So there's a lot of, you know, little nuance to it there. And it's really what makes this mode fun is the randomness. And again, this is like that roguelike situation where you don't know exactly what your run's going to look like. As you are leveling up and beating platforms, you also get points. You can see them up there in the corner here. I have filled out this tree, so there's nothing for me to spend. But basically, these are permanent buffs to whoever you bring into this mode. So, you know, my next run, if I had just gotten this one, I'd get 2% increased offense. Now, obviously, I've gone all the way down through, so I'm getting everything this has to offer. But over time, you're going to unlock all these kind of permanent buffs for this mode. So it's a little bit of incentive to keep going. But let's actually show you in practice what this looks like. And by the way, I love this UI. This one looks really cool with the red silhouettes. So let's jump in here. And this is the content. So you have 6 levels of difficulty for this one. You have another platform with 8 levels of difficulty, and then this one has 8 levels. And in here, check this out. You know, you have different, so you level 40, level 45, level 55, these go up in levels. And so if you're looking for more challenging content, look at this, level 110. Keep in mind your characters max out at 80. So these do become more and more challenging, and the card sets that you get matter more as you go up in the difficulties, because these, I have failed platforms. I have absolutely failed platforms. And on each of these platforms, look, you have 4 different bosses that you can pick from. And in total, that means you've got 12 different potential bosses you can fight, and you have to strategize around. Also, you know, when you're trying to collect your cards, you'll notice down here on the bottom, it kind of tells you what sets are within this platform. So you always have these, you know, kind of 3 of these basic ones, but then you have these special ones that are only found on those platforms. So if I am trying to hunt achievements for, you know, this guy right here, then I know that I need to fight somebody from this platform to get to those. And actually that brings up another thing. I'm going to back up for a second here. You also have achievements. And so something you can do is, for example, this says ice element lineup clear difficulty 4. So I have to run a team of 2 or more ice attributes. So I tell you guys about building horizontal teams, right? So 2 or more ice attributes, and there's no limit on eligible personas, so I can throw in ice personas here as well. But this might be a place to use, like, I don't know, Mont or Fox, you know, whatever. And so I can jump into this challenge here, and it's going to say, okay, you know, build out your team, and then it's going to put me on that path. But you kind of come in here and say, okay, well, what challenge do I want to do for extra rewards? It just makes it more efficient. And then you build your run around that. But anyways, let's jump back in. And so I'm going to pick an earlier stage just to make this easier to show you. And what you end up doing is coming in here and saying, okay, on this run, I'm going to pick a platform path and I want to get to, you know, I don't know, this guy here. And so if I look at him, okay, he's weak to electric and he's, you know, strong against these other elements. And then he has a mechanic. So this guy takes critical damage and non-critical damage is reduced by 50%. So I want to crit. Cast hero strength, increasing damage, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to read this all to you. But each of these bosses, all 12, are going to have a special mechanic. And so now I have to think about, well, what team do I want to bring to challenge the boss with these resistances and these mechanics? I will not be able to change my team when I get to the boss. So whatever you're going in with, that is your team for this run. So let's just run it. I'm going to show it to you what it looks like. I'm going to run my Haru team because I love this team, even though it's not necessarily the best one for this run. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I just want to show you a couple paths. And so you always start here, and we talk to our vendor, and she's going to give you 3 lost items, and you get to pick 1. So this is kind of setting up how you might want to do your run. So for example, treats a failed encounter as a victory and heals everybody. Same as trading platform. When you purchase 3 items from the same trading platform, you're going to get a random lost item. So this is where I might say, if I get this, I'm going to look for a path that gets me a trading platform. Or after winning a battle, your current amount of railroad coins, which are up here, this is used to buy cards, you know, at the platforms. It's increased by 3%. Let's just pick this one. And we'll go back to the train. And actually, look, by the way, you can break vases and they give you more coins. So know that if you're on a platform. And now we have this path. And so this path, I have to get through all these stages, and it's going to culminate in a boss. This is not the final boss I showed you a minute ago. So you're going to have 2 mini bosses and then the main boss. So to go through these, this is a fight with a basic enemy, and I'm going to be given a option of this card or another card based on just being the boss. This is a treasure room, so I could possibly get cards, I could possibly get lost items, maybe railroad coins. I don't know until I get there. This is like an NPC who's going to give me a choice of 1 of 2 or 3 or 4 options, random options, and it could be anything. It could be, you know, chance to get railroad coins, just get railroad coins, you know, chance for a lost item, just anything random relevant to the mode. This could be anything. We just don't know. It could be a fight, could be this guy, could be this guy, could be a sales stop. These with the horns are harder enemies. Because I'm over leveled for this particular track, I will auto clear all of these battles. But if you're on, like, say that track 110, you might be fighting every one of these fights, like, manually. So bear that in mind. This is a sales platform. And so in here, there's that vendor again, and I can buy from their shop. And then this is, you know, a random event like we were talking about for the bears. So, you know, these are all different things that you can select, and you can see the paths. Like, I don't get to pick any of these. If I pick the top path now, I'm going to get this bear, and then I can swap, or I can go here and then go up this upper track. So let's what would be a fun one for you guys? Let me go through the upper path for this one. So again, because I'm over leveled, I'm going to auto clear that guy, which that's one of the quality of life that didn't used to happen. Now I get to pick a card. Now this is my first card. And if I go up here, you're going to see that I've got one last item and no card sets right now. So I can sell these and get 40 coins, or I can come in here and say, okay, I want one of them. So I'm going to pick this one just for the sake of it. We're not going to walk through the effects because there's so many on so many different cards. And now I get to go to the next path. And in here, you know, I get to pick either 40 railroad coins or a lost item. I'm going to get this lost item, you know, because it's got a good effect I like. Again, now I get a choice. Do I want to fight somebody or do I want to do something random? Just so I can show you the sales shop, I'm going to fight. And you're going to see I'm going to get that heart card as one of them. And I can pick either one. So I can get either of these sets. You know, I'm going to pick this one for the heck of it. I haven't quite gotten duplicates to be able to build a setup. And we'll go down here. Okay, this one again, I can get 40 coins or the pink LP. I'm going to pick the pink one just to get us through this. And I'm going to stay on the lower path to show you this. So again, we're going to go through a fight. And okay, perfect. So this is great. So now you see I can pick a new set or I can get the second of this set. And if I do that, I'm going to get the 2-piece set bonus. If I come up here, I can see what sets I have. But look, I can only get 12 cards. If I want more cards, I need enough coins to buy more slots. And there's a lot of strategy to this on, do you want more sets? Do you want more effects? Do you want complete sets? Do you want to level up your sets? So in this case, I'm going to get a set bonus. And now I've unlocked my 2-piece set bonus. I can sell this card later if I want, by the way. But for now, I've got this effect. Now we're going to hit this platform. And you're going to see that there's a vendor for me to talk to. And I'll just show it to you really briefly. By the way, this takes a little bit longer to load because I'm on the Korea client and it's got like the translation pack. So check this out. I can pick up a lost item. You're going to see the cost down here. I don't even have enough to get this one. I could get this guy. I can re-roll. So this one is free. I can get different sets or I can pick up these cards. I can also come out here and sell something. So like maybe I want to sell this one and that gives me what I need to buy this card. So you get those choices in here. And if there's vases, I could break them, you know, whatever. Let's go with a random. Cool. So I can get 20% less life and get 80% coins. All team members have 50% less health, 70% chance to gain a lost item, or I can gain health. So I'm gonna take a gamble here. Cool. I got a lost item. Lost some health for it, but whatever. We'll do a battle. And then your final platform, you always have to fight. And let's just pick up a random set here. So this one's going to bring me into a boss. Now, you're going to build a team around the final boss. It doesn't mean your team's going to be good for these mid-bosses. I lucked out here because that one's, you know, Psy weak. But it's kind of the fun of this mode is you really are planning your final fight because that's the hardest one. But you may very well get blocked by a mid-fight. It happens. You just got to roll with the punches. So it does get progressively harder each platform, so each series of what I just did. But generally speaking, you can get through the mid ones. But again, truth be told, I have absolutely failed. Like I was running a challenge where I had to have an all-electric team, and I just didn't have a great one for it, and I got blocked. So the good news is when you fail, you can choose to leave the platform and take a smaller amount of rewards. Obviously, you get a lot more for completing the whole thing, and the challenge modes require you to beat the whole thing. But there we go. I beat the boss, and I get to pick another set. It's a higher rarity. And I also get a lost item, and we're just going to pick this one for the heck of it. Again, I'm not going to walk you through all 40-something cards. You'll be able to read them. This is what I wanted to show you. So we just finished this platform. Now I get to choose, so I go up or down. If I go up, I'll get access to these two bosses. If I go down, I'll get access to these two bosses. And once I finish this next platform segment, same thing, I have to go up or down. So I'm choosing which path I'm going for. So again, the best strategy is to pick which boss you truly want to fight at the end, and then you just follow your platform to them. It would have been kind of cool if it's completely random, but you know, whatever, that might have been unfair. So I'm just going to show you the next platform just to show you what it looks like, but it just repeats like this. And then when you get to the end, by the way, you do have to come into this one when you switch platforms. It doesn't auto advance you. And we'll just pick that. So you can see how fast this is with the quality of life. I hope they launch with it. But then look, I've got the same thing. I've got to pick my path, you know, maybe it gets more nuanced, maybe not. And then I'll finish with the mini boss, and then I'll pick my path again, what I just showed you a moment ago, and I'll do this all over again. So your whole thing is about getting to the end, collecting cards to complete sets, trying to build your strongest team while also thinking about what challenges do I need to complete. If you're trying to go for those achievements for the extra gems, cool. Well, then you're going to need to focus down certain cards, focus down, certain lost items. And that's how you unlock all those different rewards. And as you complete it, as you see here, you get some of those train tickets, which let you build up, this piece down here. This is how you get these tickets to get all these buffs. So that's the mode. It's pretty fun. Again, just renoting some disclaimers. I don't know if we get the quality of life on day one. They haven't said. And I don't know if we get all 180 of these batch levels on day one. Considering some of those 4-star selectors have characters we don't have, it makes me think that either A, we don't get all the levels, or B, they get updated in time. But once you clear that stage, you get the reward. So just keep that in mind. So we'll find out here in, I think, 3 days, maybe 4 days from when I'm recording this. But something to look forward to, tons of content. Let me know what you think. Do you like these roguelike modes? I know some people love those kinds of things. Some people hate them because they're unpredictable. Are you looking forward to the more challenging content? Like I said, some of these bosses go up to level 110. So, I'm sorry to tell you, you're not fighting this guy at level 60. I'm going to tell you right now. But, when you're level 80, this can actually put up a challenge for teams. So there's a lot to look forward to in my opinion. But, what about you? Do you think this looks fun? And as always, my friends, a like and a sub on the way out would be tremendous in helping this get out to more community members and helping us grow this amazing community. It's been crazy how fast this has been growing. And until our next video or live stream, my friends, please take care of yourselves.